before thinking which will be more beneficial, you should be clear of one point, with what scale you want to measure your benefits. That's a basic thing. What is the scale you are going to use to measure whether you are benefited or not, whether you are successful or not? Before thinking whether you are successful or not, before coming to the conclusion whether you are successful or not, you need to know with which scale you are going to measure your life. Before that, unless you know the scale with which you are going to measure your life, you can't jump to conclusion. Jumping to the conclusion should be done with clear intelligence. Small one-liner. What do you call falling out of an airplane without parachute? That is jumping to a conclusion. Jumping to a conclusion. If you do it without a proper scale, you are just jumping to a conclusion. You don't know where you are landing. Before understanding, before measuring your life, whether you are successful or not, you should be clear with what scale you are going to measure your life. In the end of the day, if you are going to measure your life with the scale of dollars, then you have to work only for dollars. In the end of the day, you know with which scale you are going to measure your life. So from morning till evening, you will work only for that goal. End of the day, you know, yes, this is the scale with which I am going to measure my life. You can come to a conclusion whether you are successful or failure. But by the time you reach the evening, the very scale changes. Then what to do? In our life, when we start our life, the scale is different. When we end our life, the scale with which we are measuring whether we are successful or failure, the very scale changes. I can tell one thing, fortunately the scale changes. Only for a matured person scale changes. If you learn the lessons from existence, if you learn the lesson from life, the scale with which you will measure your life, whether you are successful or not, should change. If it does not change, please be very clear, you are going to take one more life from zero. Where you left, you are going to start your life from the same point. Unless you learn the lesson, you are not going to end the game. You are going to play the same game again and again and again. If the scale changes, the scale with which you measure whether you are successful or not, if it changes, it shows you are getting mature. If it stays with the same scale, dollar, if it stays with the same scale, money, please be very clear, not only you will not be able to measure your life clearly, second thing, you will be sure failure, third thing, you will again start your whole game from day one. From day one, how you came to the planet Earth, with the same maturity, you will start your next life also. In all three ways, you will be a failure. A man whose scale has not become mature, it's a very important thing. If only dollar is your scale, if only outer world comfort is your scale, Be very clear. Again and again you will feel you could have done little more. You could have done little more. I could have done little more. I think I missed. Let me tell you a small story. One barber, king's barber, that guy used to live a very happy life. Every day morning he will go and shave king's face. King will give 10 coins. He will come back to the house. He will live his life happily with the 10 gold coins. Next day he will again go, shave the barber's face, shave the king's face, come back, have his 10 coins salary, live his life. His life was really beautiful, blissful. Nothing to bother about. There is nothing about which he is worried. He was happy. One day, when he was coming back from king's palace, suddenly he heard a voice. He heard a voice. Booming voice. Dear son, do you want pot filled with gold coins? This man said, pot filled with gold coins. But what am I going to do? I have no use for that. My expense is $10 and that is enough. My expense is just 10 gold coin. That is enough. I don't need anything more. The booming voice says, all right, I'll give you 24 hours to think. You can go to your house, you can discuss with your wife, come back tomorrow and tell me. This poor guy, he could have at least kept quiet. He went and opened his mouth to his wife. Now you know. You fool, don't you have sense? You should have brought that jar. And you never did this for me, you never did that for me. Throughout my life, I am wearing the same sari. You have never given me any jewelry. You never got this for me. You never took me here. You never took me there. What did I enjoy after marrying you? I always tell, marriage is 3-ring circus. One is engagement ring. Next is wedding ring. Third is suffering. Engagement ring, wedding ring and suffering. She starts shouting at him. This guy says, all right, don't worry. The booming voice has given me time. Till tomorrow morning, I have time to decide. Next day morning, I will talk to him and get the pot. He goes there. Next day morning, he asks that voice, please give me that jar. Immediately, Yaksha is appearing there. Yaksha means a man who has got wealth but who never enjoyed. Who has got wealth but who never enjoyed. In India, there will be a lot of this agricultural fields. They will keep 2-3 dogs. The dogs neither they will eat nor they will allow other animals to come and eat. Same way, if you have wealth, neither you enjoy nor you share with others. You are called Yaksha. Yaksha is a person who has got wealth, neither he enjoys nor he shares with the world. I always tell people, either you do dana or you become Mahadana. If you do dana, little bit you will share and you will also enjoy. Others also will enjoy. If you don't do small danas, you will become mahadani. Means you will leave everything and go away. Once for all. Yaksha is a person who has got enough wealth, but he never enjoys and never shares with others. Somehow he appears and he says, have this jar. This jar has got 990 gold coins. Just 10 gold coins less. Just 10 gold coins less. The guy brought the gold jar back to the house. He is very happy that he can spend it for at least 990 days. He can be happy. He spends $10, at least 99 days he can spend. The moment wife got the jar, she said, what is this? The jar is not over. The jar is not overflowing. There is something missing. He said, I don't know. This is the way I got the jar. The Yaksha told me it is a little less. She started worrying. If it is full, overflowing, how nice it will be. It would have been so nice. Anyhow, next day, the barber comes back. She takes all the gold coins and puts it in that jar. She wants the jar to overflow. Again, the jar is little low. It is not full because Yaksha's jar never gets filled. Yaksha's jar means your mind. Your mind is Yaksha's jar. Yaksha's jar is made of our kapala, our head. However you may have, whatever you may get, in 10 days you will feel it is not sufficient. In 10 days your mind will take everything for granted. Ramana Maharshi says beautifully, before achieving, even a mustard seed will look like a mountain. Without that, as if your life will not move. That's a basic, important thing for your life. Once you achieve it, even a mountain will look like a mustard seed. The mind is such, before achieving, even a mustard seed will look like a mountain. Once you achieve, even a mountain will look like a mustard seed. She feels there is something missing. Next day again, she takes the money from barber and puts it into the jar. Again it is little low. It's almost, but it is not full. Continuously 1 week she is not giving food for barber. She is not giving anything to him. She takes away all the money and she wants only one thing, that jar should overflow. By 1 week, this fellow has become tired, dull. His face has become very dull. King started inquiring, what happened? You used to look so fresh. What happened to you? For last 1 week, you are tired. And you started thinking about something. You have started worrying. What happened to you? Did you accept Yaksha's jar? King asks him, did you accept any gold part from anybody? Suddenly, Barber is just shocked. He says, "Oh king, how do you know?" King says, "Whomsoever is suffering in this country, whomsoever is unhappy in this country, all of them have accepted Yaksha's jar." Please be very clear. go back to your house and see, do you have a yakshas jar or not? If you are worrying, if you are suffering, there is every chance in your house you are having yakshas jar. If you have yakshas jar, of course, when I say yakshas jar, it may not be there in your house, it will be there in your head. Yaksha's jar is made out of kapala, means the head, which always makes you feel you are not enough, you are not complete, you are not full. The head which makes you think continuously you are not enough, you are not complete, is what is Yaksha's jar. When you go back to your house, check once, do you have Yaksha's jar in your house? Be very clear. Sometimes Yakshas hand over the jar in the form of bank balance. Don't think you may have just a bar, you may have just a jar. Don't think it will be just only in the form of a jar. It may be in your mind. Man who is continuously feeling that he is not fulfilled, or man who is measuring his whole life with the scale of wealth, will never feel fulfilled, because he has got Yaksha's jar in his house. He will have only more and more suffering. Yaksha's jar will never be fulfilled. Yaksha's jar will never be filled. First we need to understand with what scale you are going to measure your life, whether your life is beneficial or not. That itself has to be defined. Only then you can enter, you can choose the path. The end of the day, end of your life, at the end of your life, how you are going to measure your life, that whether it was successful or not. Now itself let you be very clear. What is the scale? Here Arjuna asks, Sanyasam karmanam Krishna punar yoganja samsasi yasreya yedayo regam danme bruhi sunischitam. Now will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two, karma or sannyasa, which of the two is more beneficial? We are all again and again asking this question to ourselves. Man is dilemma. Please be very clear. Your mind is nothing but dilemma. Your mind will be alive as long as you are caught between the extremes. The moment you come to any single conclusion, you will be liberated. The moment you reach any conclusion, you will be liberated. You will be ignorant as long as you are moving from this extreme to that extreme. Don't say ignorance is bliss. If ignorance is bliss, why so many people are suffering in the planet Earth? Why do you think so many are suffering? Ignorance is not bliss. Innocence is bliss. That is different. Innocence means you will not carry a scale with which continuously you will be measuring your life. Ignorance means you will have a scale, but you are not able to fulfill your life according to your scale. If you neither have scale nor have a goal, then no problem. But here, you have intelligence, you have intellect, you have enough of intellect to have a scale, but you are not able to fulfill it. That is what I call ignorance. First thing we need to understand is man as such is a disease. The first and last disease is dilemma. Dilemma is the disease with which he starts his life and ends his life. I can't even say ends. He will be in a dilemma whether to end or not. It is just taken away from him. It is just taken away from him. Why do you think worry kills more people than work? Because more people worry than work. Worry is nothing but dilemma. Here, Arjuna is having a dilemma. Which is more beneficial for me? If you look into the whole life as a utility, some way of benefit, please be very clear, you are creating, you are building your own hell. Life has no separate benefit. Life itself is benefit. You cannot measure your life whether it is success or failure with a scale. If you have a scale, please be very clear. If you don't achieve, you will feel life is a failure. If you achieve, you will face the depression of success. That's all. Both the way, you are going to be in trouble. Life itself is a benefit. If you ask which of the two is more beneficial, that also more beneficial. Business mind, a pure business mind, with life you cannot do business. Whole life cannot be business. Be very clear. At some point, you need to relax from business. You need to relax from the business mentality. I always tell people, at least half an hour per day, at least 30 minutes per day, do something which will not get dollars for you. Some painting, some writing, some poetry. When you start painting itself, don't start thinking of a big gallery. I'll make all these paintings and put gallery in New York and make money. When you start writing few poems, don't start thinking of Nobel Prize. I'll publish this and it will become like Gitanjali, then I will have Nobel Prize. No. Without thinking about any result, benefit, just do something. Go to a place like this, some temple, clean it, wipe it. Don't think, I'll become leader of volunteer batch. The moment you take the broomstick in your hand, start mopping, start cleaning the room, start cleaning the temple, you start planning how to have a volunteer batch and how to become leader of that batch. All you need to do is only one thing, a simple technique. The whole thing is now reduced to a one-line message. Let all your mental thoughts, let all your physical deeds be directed towards the gratitude to the divine. Don't work out of fear or greed, because whatever you achieve out of your greed, you are not going to feel fulfilled. It's like a pouring ghee into the fire. Can you quench the fire by pouring ghee into it? Never. So you will never be able to feel the fulfillment. So all your actions done out of greed will only make your senses weak and tired. Same way, all your laziness done out of fear will only make your mind restless. Because you may not do anything physically, but your mind will be worrying. If you have become karma yogi out of greed, your senses will be only weakened, because how much you will run? All the running will make only your senses weak. If you become sannyasi out of fear, again, you may not do anything physically, but whole day you will be sitting and worrying. A small story, one-liner. When a man don't have money, the problem is money. When he has got money, the problem is sex. When he has got sex, the problem is comforts. When he has got comforts, when everything goes well, he starts worrying about the death. He has started bothering about the death. He has started thinking about death. Something or other will be going on in your mind. Don't think people who have become sannyasis, who are sitting in the Himalayas, they are in the bliss. They are in ecstasy. No. Unless they change the attitude, they cannot experience joy. Unless the attitude changes, they cannot experience bliss. Bliss is directly related to your attitude. Being, doing and having. Your whole life will be directed to doing and having if you are caught in fear and greed. If you center yourself into the being, doing and having, both will happen through you with a tremendous ecstasy. Never work out of greed because that is waste. Never work out of fear. Again it is waste. Never become silent out of fear because there is nothing to lose. Never become silent out of fear because why should you be afraid? Whether you are afraid or not, everything is going to be taken away. Why not be blissful? Same way, never work out of greed because whatever you achieve is going to be taken away. Then why should you waste your life in working? Both the corners. Understand, there is a beautiful story. One man goes to Ramakrishna and asks for money as a blessing. Ramakrishna will never bless for money. He will never bless for money. He goes to Ramakrishna and asks, Master, please bless me. I should have wealth. Finally, Ramakrishna says, all right, let you have wealth. You will be surprised. He was working. He was not working. Actually, he used to collect paper from road. The roadside, he will collect the papers. And he will go to house and collect the old paper. And make money out of it. He used to make his living out of it. The day Ramakrishna blessed, something happened. Within 10 years, he became the owner of a very big magazine called Ananda Bazar Patrika. If you are from Calcutta, you know. The founder of Ananda Bazar Patrika is disciple of Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna blessed him, you will have wealth. Till today the magazine is running. And you will be surprised. You don't have kids. You don't have kids. In the end of the life he says, oh God, now I realize I asked for wealth from Master. Now I understand. Throughout my life, I did only one thing. I worked like a donkey, that's all, nothing else. I created the whole thing and I am now leaving it and going away. I just worked for somebody who is going to enjoy this wealth. So if you work out of greed, please be very clear, one day you will repent. One day you will repent. Why do you think parents are so possessive of children? Because they have vengeance inside. I worked, created so much wealth, I am leaving it for you. Why don't you fellow obey for my words? Listen to my words. All the possessiveness comes because you suffered and created the wealth. That is why you have so much of possessiveness. You try to control them so much. If the wealth is created without suffering, when you give also, it will be like a graceful. You will give gracefully as a gift. You will not bind him in so many ways. You will not torture him. You will not expect him to do so many things. You will not play with your wealth. You will clearly write will in an open way. Why do you think people write always their will secretly? Why do you think people write their will secretly? So that they will be dangling the carrot. It is nothing but dangling the carrot. The guy should be continuously behind them. The person who has created wealth out of suffering, when he gives the wealth, he will share, he will give the suffering also. People come and ask me, Swamiji, I hear that parents' karma will come to the son. Children, is it true? Surely the sins and merits of the parents will not come to you, but the mental setup will come to you. Because they will try to force that on you. They will try to force that mental setup on you. They will expect that you should live as they want. They will try. We always try to fulfill our ambitions through our kids. If you want to become doctor, if you have not achieved, if you have not become doctor, you try to fulfill your ambition through your kids. You try to fulfill your ambitions through the next generation. Never do that. If you do that, you will be destroying their life. You will be sharing not only your wealth, your suffering also. The man who created the wealth out of suffering will give suffering to the person to whom he gives the wealth. And next thing, if he is not able to torture the son or the daughter who is receiving the wealth, he will start suffering. If he knows this fellow is not going to listen to me, he is not going to live as I want, he will start suffering. I am leaving all these things, believing him. I don't know what will happen. I don't know what he will do. When he dies, he will have worst death. He will be like a yaksha. He will come back and sit on the property. Be very clear. He will not let even his son to enjoy the property. He will come back and sit on that property. I have seen many litigation cases. The parents, when they give their wealth to kids, somehow or other, even after 30, 40 years, the kids will not be able to enjoy that wealth. Be very clear, it means the property is with yaksha. The guy has come back and he is sitting as a yaksha in the property. Neither he will enjoy nor he will allow others to enjoy. If the property will be in Indian litigation, Indian court. In Indian courts, you know, when judgments come. The last judgment day, only on that day all the judgments are given. And when the last judgment day, neither you know, nor I know. I don't know whether God knows or not. There is a small story. American president goes to God and asks God, when our country will become number one? God says, 50 years. Then he thinks, array, 50 years, I don't know whether I will be alive or not. He starts weeping. Next, Russian president goes and asks God, God, when will our country become first? He says, 100 years. Oh, neither I will be alive nor my son will be alive. He starts weeping. Indian chief, he goes and asks God, God, when will India become chief? God starts weeping. I don't know whether I will be alive or not. Till that time, I don't know whether I will be alive or not. So be very clear, whenever the judgment comes, it takes its own sweet time. For a file to move from one table to another table, if the file grows the leg and moves by itself, only then it is possible. Otherwise, takes its own sweet time. What to do? Truth has to be told, nothing else can be done. We have to share the truth. It means the yaksha is sitting. Again and again, we share what we create. That's what I always tell people. If the wealth is created out of pain body, you will transfer the pain body also to the next generation along with the wealth. If it is created out of just relaxed mood, out of voluntary decision, or I can say without any strong motivation. One important thing we should understand, working without motivation is completely unheard in the West. All the people who are working in the field of mind, psychologists, psychiatrists, the people who do research in the field of mind, all the scientists always emphasize, without motivation you cannot work. That is why so many motivational gurus in the West. West is haunted by motivational gurus. So many motivational gurus. Please be very clear. These scientists, these psychologists, these doctors have come to the conclusion after doing analysis on patients, not on an enlightened man. They never had a specimen of a Buddha. They never encounter an enlightened man. That is the reason they say work without motivation is impossible. I tell you, work without motivation is the only work. Work without motivation will never make you tired. Will never make you tired. Every moment you will be ecstatic. You will be working out of bliss. First he gives the technique to enter into that state. Then he says, if you can stay in the same state, you are liberated. Let me introduce the exact process of the whole program. It is all about wealth. As the title says, money. The first question, what an enlightened master has to do with wealth? Why should he talk about wealth? He is supposed to be talking about renunciation. But he is talking about wealth. Please understand, a beautiful survey, study done by Ohio University Sociology Department. I wanted to share some of their study by Lisa Kister, Associate Professor of Sociology at Ohio State University. Religion is an important factor in wealth accumulation, a factor that has not received a lot of attention. The study suggests religious beliefs children learn in their families translate into educational attainment, adult occupations, financial literacy, social connection, and other factors that influence adult wealth ownership. One more important thing, the study says, it is not only the religious affiliation. People who attended the religious services regularly accumulated more wealth.
God pays you. And some of the very interesting informations I want to share with you, so that you will understand why I ventured into this program, N-Wealth, teaching you about wealth. The study says religious beliefs are directly connected to the wealth they create and accumulate. Conservative Protestants don't accumulate too much in this life. Jews encourage pursuits that lead to wealth accumulation, high income careers and investing. And you will be shocked to know the median net worth of a Jew is $150,000, $150,890, 3 times more than the net worth of an entire sample. And conservative Protestants, Baptists and Seventh-day Adventists and Christian Scientists, only 26,000. Please understand, Jews 150,000 and conservative Protestants are just 26,000. Half of the net worth of the entire sample. Jews are 3 times more the entire sample, and conservative Protestants are half of the entire sample. And statistics of the communities that remained asset poor, Jews are only 1% asset poor, Protestants are 15% asset poor, Catholics are 7%. Accumulations such as homes, stocks and bonds, Jews 35% have accumulated. Conservative Protestants only 3%. Mainline Protestants 22%. Catholics only 20%. Early life investment and high risk, high return assets such as stock and bonds to earn wealth. Jews, 1/3 of the population do this. Conservative Protestants, 0% of the population does this. Mainline Protestants only 7% and Catholics only 4%. Understand, the study says religion keeps coming up in any model you run to explain wealth. It is something you can't ignore, but there has been little effort to explain the connection between religion and wealth accumulation. And finally, the study ends with a question mark. Still they are not able to clearly pinpoint the exact faith or the mental setup responsible for the accumulation of the wealth. So that job I am going to do in these 2 days. Understand, religion and wealth are very closely associated. That is the reason I ventured into teaching you how to accumulate wealth. First statement I wanted to make, the first statement of this program: wealth is not a thing to be accumulated or managed. Wealth is you. Please understand. Wealth is not just a thing as you think to be accumulated or managed or created or celebrated. It is you. Wealth is nothing but extension of you. In Sanskrit we have a very beautiful word. Lakshmi means intensified goal. When the Lakshya is intensified in you, it is Lakshmi. intensified goal is Lakshmi. The right mental setup directly makes you create and celebrate wealth. I don't even want to use the word creating and sustaining. I wanted to use the word creation and celebration of wealth. The right mental setup is required to create wealth, to celebrate wealth. Only an enlightened person can teach you the mental setup, can create the right mental setup. That is the reason I took up the program on wealth. The usual question an enlightened being is supposed to teach renunciation. Please understand, how will you renounce unless you lived? I have seen wealthy man, I have seen poor man's renunciation, I have seen wealthy man's renunciation. I have seen all these three. Please understand, I have seen poor man renouncing what he doesn't have, and wealthy man enjoying, and I have seen wealthy man renouncing. All these three mental setups I have seen. I wanted to let you know, whether you will renounce or not, that is different, but it is good to have wealth. I completely support creation and celebration of wealth. I'll explain the detailed truths and the mental setups we carry about wealth. Somehow this concept, the very word wealth, if you don't have, greed. If you have, fear. If you are in between, worry. Too much. I can say the word wealth is too mysterious than God. Even about God, you can come to a conclusion and understanding very easily. But the word wealth has become too mysterious because we did not look into it. The right mental setup is not achieved. Look a little deeply. The very word wealth creates so much of pain in everybody. Either you had too much of greed and did not have it, or too much of fear of poverty, or too much of failure ideas. The moment the word wealth is uttered, too many of your failures crops up in your system, and too many broken relationships crops up in your system. Too many broken relationships, too much of disrespect, too much of the pain and sufferings which you went through from the young age gets awakened. That is why a normal man can never think of wealth in a relaxed way. Just look in. Even if you want to think about creating wealth, secretly you sit and think. Even inside your own mind you create a secret chamber where you plan about wealth. Even your whole mind does not accept for planning about wealth. The moment one corner of your mind starts planning, the other corner wants warning you. Hey, you are planning about wealth, you are going to get into suffering. The other part is already teaching you renunciation. But you need to understand, it is not renunciation from understanding. It is renunciation based on the tendency of moving away from life, escaping from life, a wrong attitude. You carry too many chaotic ideas, too much of confusion about wealth. As I said, wealth is not a thing, wealth is you. If you are confused about wealth, you are completely confused about you. Who you are, what you are, why you are, who you are. Who you are, what you are, why you are, who you are. You are thoroughly confused about the whole thing. As the Sanskrit word Lakshmi means intensified goal is Lakshmi. Please understand. Lakshmi is not just wealth. Wealth is one idea. Lakshmi is intensified goal. When the goal is intensified in you, alive in you, awakened in you, wealth is inevitable. Wealth is not just money, the relationships, satisfaction, the power to convert dollars and rupees into the product which you wanted to have. In Sanskrit, we have 8 dimensions of wealth. In the next further sessions, I'll talk about it. We call it Dana, Danya, Virya, Vijaya. Different dimensions of wealth. It is a thing, it is not a thing, it is your very being. Only when your being becomes proper, the wealth gathers around you, wealth happens around you, and you celebrate it. And wealth can be adding to your life. Without the right mental setup, even if you are inherited or grabbed. For example, legally if you are born to a rich person, you inherit. And if you inherit illegally, it is called grabbing, that's all. Without the right mental setup, even if you inherit or grab, you will not be able to celebrate wealth. I have seen people, I have seen all kinds of people who celebrate wealth without having it, who celebrate wealth without creating it, who create wealth but don't celebrate it, who create wealth but never use it, who grab wealth but does not celebrate it, who grab wealth but does not enjoy it. All kinds of mental setup I have seen. A right mental setup, a right understanding about wealth not only attracts wealth towards you, makes wealth happen in your life, it gives tremendous clarity even for your day-to-day life, normal life. Because wrong ideas about wealth becomes a self-impediment for your very growth, for your very understanding, for your very living. As I said, wealth is not a thing, it is you, different dimensions of you. When you manage different dimensions of you, just wealth happens around you. As I said, wealth is not just dollars and rupees. It is relationships, contentment, the peace and job satisfaction, everything, each one of these items, and health, each one of these items are your wealth, and the mental setup continuously to have success. All these things are different dimensions of wealth. So I think now you are very clear why I am talking on wealth. I am going to work on wealth. I am going to teach about wealth to you. First thing I wanted to do in this program is make you understand all the pains you associated with wealth. Your innate guilt about greed and the ideas put inside you in the young age, the wrong ideas put inside you in the young age about wealth. When your parents fight for wealth among themselves, not only you have wrong ideas about them, you have wrong ideas about wealth. You feel, oh, it is wealth separates people. That one engram is enough for your whole life. You will not be able to create wealth peacefully. You will not be comfortable with wealth peacefully. Just see, how many of you are comfortable when you think about wealth inside you? When you just sit in a relaxed way and remember about wealth. See how much of pain comes out. Whether the failed efforts which you took or the failed relationships because of wealth. When I say failed efforts, so many examples I can give. The efforts which you did not do properly, or which you did properly and did not work out, did not click, or somebody cheated you. Whether somebody cheated you or not, practically every person in the world feels they have been cheated. There is nobody who feels he is not cheated, he or she is not cheated. Then who is cheating? Everybody feels, whether it is a person who lives in slum, or a middle class, or billionaires. Everybody feels they are cheated. They are cheated. How can this be? Somehow, wealth creates, the idea of wealth creates strong, painful memories and engrams in you. That is the first reason why you are not comfortable about wealth. You get into wrong pseudo-renunciation ideas. First thing I want to do in this process is make you understand all the wrong engrams you carry about wealth. Engraved memories, wrong ideas you are having about wealth in your brain, in your system. From the young age, all the wrong ideas you imbibed in your system about the wealth. Please sit and go on writing whatever you remember about money in your life. Please understand. First time, what you heard about wealth from your parents. First time, what you heard about your wealth from your friends, from your relatives, from your teachers. When you started growing up, what are the ideas you imbibed about wealth? I can remember, even now I can remember, first incident of wealth in my life, maybe around the age of 2 or 3, in Indian villages, during the festivals, the uncles and parents will give few coins to kids. So many of my relatives gave money to my elder brother, younger brother, for me also. I got a lot of coins for my share. All of them were counting. I was sitting and looking at that, and I looked into my father and asked, what shall I do with this? He said, whatever you want you can buy. I said, I want one Ganesha to play with. You already gave it. It is there for me. I don't want anything else. Then he said, you can give it away to whomever you want. I said, oh, that's all. Okay. Then I called some of my friends. My house is filled with my cousins, and it's a giant family. I called 2, 3 of these guys and said, hey, I don't want this. Whoever wants, please take it. I thought some 4 or 5 people will come and take. Forget about it. The one guy whom I said, he just picked up the whole thing. Whole cloth on which the coins were there. I couldn't understand. Anyhow, I just left it. Okay. What I wanted is there. I don't want anything else. Leave it. This is my first memory of wealth. And still, I tell you, this memory plays a major role in how I handle wealth. It is just utility. I have not created a single relationship because of wealth. I have not broken a single relationship because of wealth. I have not created any suffering for me because of wealth. I have not created any joy for me because of wealth. I am living, wealth is living with me. Just wealth is living with me. Understand? Wealth is your personality, nothing else. I can tell you all dimensions of wealth is living with me. I have a right to talk about wealth to you. Of course, I am a wealthy guru. You can't equate my wealth to rupees or dollars. Media has tried their best, saying 1,000 crore, 100 crore. Of course, all these numbers are lies. It is not that much if you equate it to number. But one thing I want to tell all of you, you can't equate my wealth to number, because I have such beautiful, intelligent, strong, feeling connected sannyasis. Each one of them, how many $1 million you will equate them? You can't. That is one of the biggest asset I have. And it is such a wealth, even when I say it's a wealth, they don't feel it's a pride. They feel only grateful for being around me. For example, if you tell others, my wife is my wealth, naturally she will feel pride. She will say, yes, yes, I know. I am your wealth. But I am telling my sannyasis are my wealth, you won't see pride in them. Not only dollars or rupees, in every dimension, wealth is living around me. So wealth is not a thing, it is just a mental setup. It is self-management. That is what is wealth management. Creating self and celebrating self is what I call creating wealth and celebrating wealth. You need to know, if you are not having wealth, I wanted to make it very clear. I wanted to rewrite the word. Blessed are those who are rich. They live in heaven. I don't want to say they go to heaven. I don't want to use the word, blessed are those who are poor in spirit, they shall enter into the heaven. No. Blessed are those who are rich, they live in heaven. It's a wrong understanding given about wealth. Being poor is no way connected to spirituality. I am making one more thing clear. Being poor is equally criminal like grabbing or robbing the wealth from others. Robbing the wealth, stealing the wealth, and being poor, both are equally criminal. If you are poor, please understand, it is not that you are not working, you are working in wrong direction to create poverty. Krishna says very clearly in Gita, Gahano karmano gadihi. World is action. Whether you want it or not, you are in action. If you are not creating wealth, you are in action in wrong direction. That's all. You are in action, but wrong direction. You are creating poverty. In these 2 days, all I am going to do is create a right mental setup for you so that you attract and celebrate wealth. You create and celebrate wealth. First thing, the first process I want to do is sit and go on write all the ideas you received about wealth in the young age. Let me first open you up. What you have, let us dig it out. Then we'll clear this past engrams, create the right mental setup for wealth. Then I'll explain the right mental setup necessary for wealth and the wealth management techniques and ideas from ancient, age-old Vedic tradition. Please understand, Vedic tradition is one of the richest, wealthiest tradition, not just in the inner world, even in the outer world. Thousands of years before, whatever you call as outer world wealth, we are the richest tradition. Even after so many invasion for wealth, so much of swindling, still India holds so much richness, wealth. First, the invasion by different groups like Kanishkas, Kushanas, and Mauryas, then Mughals, then British, then the modern day Indian politicians. So much of invasion, all of you should know. Only one scam of modern day Indian politician has swindled more wealth from India and stashed it outside India than the whole British Empire. In 200 to 300 years, whatever British swindled from India, took it outside India, is done in just one scam. All of you know, I don't need to talk about it. Just one. So, even after so much of robbing, stealing, still we are generating, because the Vedic tradition is life affirmative. It believes in creating wealth, not grabbing, creating. I can say India is the only country which never grabbed wealth from other countries, other civilizations. Every possible civilization and groups robbed India, but India never went out to grab wealth from others. Even after giving up so much, we still have. So if you look from the right angle, I can say India is the richest country in the world even now. Because never grabbed, always gave. Never grabbed, always gave. Still we have. And the funny thing is, still only 3% of Indian man hour is used. Please understand. For example, see, in India we call it working age as 25 to 58. 25 to 58 is the working age. If a person supposed to be working 8 hours a day, 25 to 58, all the Indians into 8 hours. I am saying that people, Indians who are between 25 to 58 and 8 hours. If this is 100 hours, for example, I am giving you, only 3 hours productivity happens in India. I want all of you to know. Only 3 hours. But still, we are creating wealth. So I'll share the ancient secrets of creating and celebrating wealth. Of course, you can look from the other angle and say India is poor country, so much of poverty, slum and all that. I am giving you the overall idea. Experience is, the click you need to know is, this idea of connecting food and money, an idea of feeling this much is enough for me, is a poverty mental setup. Please understand. Indians highly suffer with this poverty mental setup. I wanted all of you to know, don't settle with the idea this much is enough. No. Create left and right. And if you don't want to possess, share it with the world. But don't build a setup that this is enough. This is enough curtails your expression, your creativity. I wanted all of you to know, when you start feeling this is enough, when you have a line, it is not that you are a big, great guy. No. You are great when you don't say enough, when you create. While you create, no question of enough. While you celebrate, you can have enough. Understand? When you possess, you can have enough. You can say, this much let me possess, that's enough. Other things, let it go to society in various other ways. When you are creating, if you have enough, you have a sickness. So, I wanted all of you to know, no question of enough while you create. Then what will happen? Your creativity will stop. You will not flower. You will not reach the ultimate. You will not have the fulfillment. You will not be exploding. So during creation, no enough. Only while you possess, you have freedom for enough. Anybody else? Please come. So now you need to break the mental setup of enough. See, he has one black engram, one wrong engram, that my community people will never grow. These are some of the engrams put in the mind in the Indian villages, that certain community never creates wealth, certain community always creates wealth. He says, even though he has created so much wealth, still that feeling, my community never grows, is there. I think now you know the problem. Break it, that's all. Come on, I'll read out our message. All my life from when I was 2, my mom always told me I was born to give, not to receive. How do I deal with this? You need to know, you can give only if you have. You need to create. And there is one more message. Money causes people to fight against one another. We must compete for wealth. Oh, this is the complete wrong idea. Please understand, you don't need to, you see, only to grab wealth you need to compete. But to create wealth, you don't need to compete. While you are creating wealth, all people who create wealth complement each other. Please understand. There are 2 ways to have wealth. One, creating. Another one, grabbing. Only while you grab, you compete with each other. While you create, you complement each other. Creation of wealth is totally different from grabbing the wealth or robbing the wealth. Only while you are robbing or grabbing, you need to compete. Here I am asking you to create, not to compete. Now, we will do a next process. Maybe that will make more understanding to all of you guys. Now, find out your partner, next person to you. Sit as pairs. Please sit as pairs. Sit as pairs. Just turn. Sit as pairs. Find out partner. One friend for you, with whom you can talk now, with whom you can share. Start sharing, start talking. Actually, whatever you wrote now, start talking, start sharing. See, you will understand, only while you talk and share, the other person will be able to point all the wrong engrams you have created, and when he shares, you will be able to point all the wrong engrams he is carrying. Alright, first, the right side batch, start talking. Start sharing. The right side batch means this side, this group. Start sharing what you wrote. Then I'll get the essence from you guys.
Los Angeles.
Please start sharing. Now you should find out a person who understands your language. Your partner should know your language. Start sharing the money engrams you created. Start discussing clearly. You see, I wanted first the right side team to talk. You share your problems, the other person can give clarity. Then after that, the left side team should start. See, don't start talking about your problem when you are listening the other person's. When you are listening other person's, listen completely. Only help him to find out his wrong engrams, wrong mental setup. Then you can tell your story. Don't start immediately. Before even the other person completes, you don't start. Listen to my sad story first. No. First listen to their story. Then you can start your story. So that this side, for example, if you are sitting as 2, my right side, this side will talk first. Listen sincerely. Listen sincerely and try to help the person, other person. Understand? Share enlightenment. Enlighten the other person first. You will have enlightenment. Talk in detail. Whatever you wrote, express in very detailed way. Explain and express properly. Better to get somebody who knows your mother tongue. Couples don't sit together. Of course, in India, no problem. Men and women are separate. In other countries, if you don't sit with your husband or wife, otherwise you will carry that continuously in your headache. The N-Wealth program will continue even in the house. While you talk properly and express, you will understand the wrong engrams you are carrying. Unless you talk it out, you can't catch it. All right, right side batch has only 3 more minutes. You need to complete so that the left side can start. He says, I heard that wearing Rudraksha gives you only sustenance and does not allow you to create, accumulate and celebrate wealth and money. Is it true? Anand, relax. No. I wanted to tell you a few things. See, in Hinduism, we have all types of mental setup in Hindu religion. Hinduism is practically like a group of religions. It is not one religion. It is group of some maybe 200 religions. Each sampradaya is an independently intelligent enough to fulfill human beings spiritually, socially, and economically, and create a complete group, a complete fulfillment. So in this way, 200 traditions put together is Hindu religion. I can say Hindu religion is totality of 200 religions. In all these different parts of Hindu religion, the best mental setup for wealth is Shaivites. Please understand. I have gone through all different mental setups. You may think, no, Vishnu is wealth. What do you mean by Shaivites? When you are ready to lose, when you are free from insecurity, you create left and right. You see, the idea of destruction gives you a kind of a freedom. Please understand. Idea of destruction frees you from the idea of security. When you are free from the idea of security, when the insecurity becomes security for you, when you are free from the mental setup of the security, you create left and right. See, all over the India, all huge temples are Shiva temples. See, wealthy temple is, Tirupati is wealthy temple, no doubt. That is because of too many other different reasons. Otherwise, if you see the totality, see, Tirupati is like a, totally the Vishnu temples are very less in number. So, the accumulation comes out like a more. But if you see total wealth, Shaivites are more wealthy. Even the mental setup of a Shaivite is for lot of taking risks. Lot of risk taking. These things happens for the Shaivite mental setup. So, I can tell you, this Rudraksha and the mental setup related to Shaivism makes you create more wealth. Create more wealth and more money. Come on, we'll start one by one. Now, I wanted you guys to share the important understanding you showed to others, but you yourself did not have till you shared with other or till your partner shared with you. See, now many of you would have had some strong clicks when your partner was sharing with you or you were sharing with your partner. So I wanted few of you guys to come out and share the whole situation so that I can address almost all possible problems related to money. Come on, here there's a message from Redondo Beach. In order to have wealth, someone else must go without. Idea of living simply so others can simply live. Please understand, there is no need for somebody to lose wealth for you to have. Only if you are robbing from others, somebody need to lose. But wealth does not need to be robbed. We can create. Let us create more and more. See, in Vedic tradition, we have two things called Sanganidhi, Badmanidhi. Badmanidhi means flowered wealth, means which you create. Sanganidhi means conquered, but conquered from nature. Conch, see how a conch is conquered from the ocean and it becomes your wealth. You conquered it from nature. Conquering it from nature and flowering it, making it happen by your creativity. Nothing wrong. If you are going to create and going to conquer from nature, then you don't need to feel somebody else should become poor. No. When you create wealth, somebody else does not need to become poor. Go without wealth. Only when you are robbing, cheating, stealing from others, they have to go without wealth. We are not doing that. I am not teaching you how to rob. I am promoting you the science of creating wealth. So when you create, someone else does not need to go without it. So understand what I am saying? So creation is not competition, it is complementing to others. Yes, please be seated. Next message. Can you send me all the messages? Please understand. You can now share any click happened to you which you did not have earlier, happened because your partner sharing with you or you sharing with your partner. That kind of clicks come and present now. Come on, women, lady.
Nithyananda, the first thing I wrote on my notepad is, first of all, the money is not there. Whatever little is there is created in a manner which makes you lose grace. And in spite of losing grace, whatever little is created, one person, the person who has created the money, tries to establish his or her own supremacy over the people around him and makes other people feel low. And eventually, one person feels good, one person feels bad, and the entire experience is that first it is hell to create it, and then it is useless. Overall, it is futile. There I realized that since I had grown up with my grandparents, I never owned up my father's money. I wanted to ask my father for money for inner awakening. So I just could not press the button there. Because one thing that very powerfully happened for me was that his money is just not a money I can ever ask for. It is not mine at all. Then all of this filtered down. I'd been working on money earlier also. This is the crux I got when I sat down here today.
So the creating money is futile.
Yes.
I think, don't you need to learn an important fact? Just because, you see, your story, the mental setup explains, just because somebody who has money goes around, bosses over, establishes their supremacy on others, it is not money is responsible for it. It is the wrong mental setup of that person is responsible. You understand?
Yes.
Please understand. If that guy, even if he
since
does...
I had grown up with my grandparents, I never owned up my father's money. I wanted to ask my father for money for inner awakening. So I just could not press the button there. Because one thing that very powerfully happened for me was that his money is just not a money I can ever ask for. It is not mine at all. Then all of this filtered down. I'd been working on money earlier also. This is the crux I got when I sat down here today.
So the creating money is futile.
Yes.
I think, don't you need to learn an important fact? Just because, you see, your story, the mental setup explains, just because somebody who has money goes around, bosses over, establishes their supremacy on others, it is not money is responsible for it. It is the wrong mental setup of that person is responsible. You understand?
Yes.
Please understand. If that guy, even if he doesn't have money, if he is little beautiful, he is going to establish his supremacy on others based on the beauty. Then it is a mental setup of that person. If he is not having money, if he wants to establish his supremacy, if he does not have money, otherwise also he is going to establish his supremacy through the beauty or health in some other way.
Exactly.
So money is not responsible for his arrogance and misbehavior.
Yes.
So don't blame money. Now understand, money should not be hated for the habits and attitudes of the people with money.
Yes.
Otherwise what? He is going to establish his supremacy with some other way. Otherwise he will become a politician. He will establish his supremacy through weapon and violence. You understand the click?
Yes.
Money is not responsible for the attitudes and actions of the people with money. With that attitude, even without money, they are going to use something else to express that attitude.
So what should we do to
So,
that attitude?
that nothing can be done. That they have to suffer and eliminate that attitude.
No, not in them, in us.
In us.
Like,
In your case, then you should be very clear. The attitude is disturbance, not the money. So stop hating money. Hate the right person who has to be hated. Hate the attitude, not the money. If you are hating the money, you will not be creating money. Instead, if you hate the attitude, you will destroy that attitude.
Like, I'm scared. The particular incident I'm talking about, there I have seen that love is lost for the sake of money. So I'm scared as a child when this thing happened. I was scared that I'll have to lose love in my life if I have to create money. Right? So it
No.
would be...
Once somebody somewhere, see, understand, this is what the last session also I was saying. Somebody who expects money from you, if you expect love from that person, it is going to be wrong relationship. Same way, somebody expects love from you. If you expect money from that person, it is going to be wrong relationship. Wrong relationship is like trying to paste wood and gold.
Yes.
But neither wood is wrong nor gold is wrong.
Yes.
But when you start hating,
Yes.
because of money, this problem, you are hating the wrong person.
Yes.
So now understand, hating the wrong person will not solve the problem. It will create only more and more problem. Now catch the truth, at least I will not hate the wrong person. Understanding it. Bring more and more understanding. At least I will not hate the wrong person. So now you can start hating the right person. Who is supposed to be hated here? The attitude of trying to establish supremacy. That needs to be hated. Not the money. You understand? Now catch. Attitude of trying to establish supremacy has to be hated.
One question I have. I've seen there are many people around me with whom there are people around them who support them through, through a loss or anything.
Sorry?
There are people who come forward for their support. And on the other hand, there are some other people, if they lose something, people move away from them. How does this happen? And if I have to create a strong social experience wherein people come forward, how do I do that?
I can say this coming forward or moving away both depends on your attitude expressed when you had or not having money. For example, even while you have money, if you are not interested in establishing your supremacy,
Yes.
people will be around attracted towards you.
All right.
But if you are trying to establish your supremacy while you have or not having, people are going to move out of you. It is the attitude of trying to establish supremacy. See, if you are not trying to establish supremacy, even if you don't have money, if you have a problem, people will be there to support you. If you are trying to establish supremacy, even while you have, when you are not there, people are going to take revenge on you. It is trying to establish supremacy is a problem.
And one last thing, the thread that runs through this entire thing is that I do not have money and I cannot have money.
That is another one big wrong setup, mental setup.
Yes.
Then.
I've written it many times after after every third or fourth sentence. I've eventually written I do not have it and I just cannot have it.
You see, when this becomes your main thought trend, it becomes a magnet and it attracts only that kind of a thinking, job opportunity and the ability to work everything around you. Now decide, no, I do not have money is fact, but I can have money is reality.
Thank you.
I do not have money is fact, but I can have money is reality.
Yes.
Move from fact to reality. Don't seal reality based on fact. Fact is not reality. It is of reality or one portion of reality. Fact is the reality read with your mind. For example, reality is this whole crowd sitting in front of me. Fact is I am attending only you. So in this whole crowd, which is 200-degree vision, I am concentrating only on 40-degree vision. 40 degree is fact, but it is not reality. Reality is the huge possibility. So, move from fact to reality. Reality is thousands of people sitting in front of me. But fact is, I am reading only one part of reality. If I am talking to 5-6 of you, I am attending fact, which is one part of reality. But this fact alone is not reality. Move from fact to reality. Yes.
Thank you.
Actually, yes, please. If you are hating money because of the actions done by people with money, a wrong person is paying the bill. A wrong person is suffering. I have a story for you guys. Walking up to a department store's fabric counter, the pretty girl said, I would like to buy this material for a new dress. How much does it cost? The male clerk who was standing there said, only 1 kiss per yard, with a smirk in the face. The girl said, that is fine, I'll take 10 yards. With expectation and anticipation written all over his face, the clerk quickly measured out the cloth, wrapped it up, and then teasingly held it out. The girl snapped up the package, pointed to the old man standing beside her, and smiled, Grandpa will pay the bill. Understand? If you are hating money because of the attitudes and actions of the people with money, wrong person will pay the bill. Come on. Next, anybody wants to share? Come out, come to the stage. Is there anybody in the class never went to a public stage, never held a mic in the life, never spoken in public? Please raise your hand. Come on, come out. Only those few people I wanted them to come out first.
Okay. I come from a teacher's family.
Nice.
There has been a lot of importance that was given to knowledge.
Nice.
And so I was very happy and proud, and I get a lot of respect when my knowledge is exhibited. I have had a lot of money at particular points of time, and that time there was a lot of respect. And when I didn't have money, some of the people, not everybody, some of the people were, mistreated. Rather mistreated my wife, not me, because I said I don't care. Okay, so my thing to them was saying, no, I don't care. If you are thinking me only I am as that X amount of money, I don't care for you. So I could move on, and now I am back again to make some part of money, and I know more money is in my coming in my way. So this is what I was thinking. So I said money is important. Now the conflict that is going on is knowledge is more important than money, and money is important. So money is getting a second treatment. Hence that is why I am having the problems that I have had. So
see, understand, The separation of knowledge and money is sin. Separation of Saraswati and Lakshmi is sin. Saraswati and Lakshmi is one and the same. The moment you have the problem, Lakshmi is bigger or Saraswati is bigger, means knowledge is bigger or wealth is bigger, you caught into a big mess. Always knowledge comes where the wealth comes where the knowledge is. It supports each other. See, the real knowledge happens when the wealth is there with you. Real wealth happens when knowledge is there with you. If you have the conflict, knowledge or wealth, it is not the conflict of reality, it is the conflict of your mind. It's a conflict of attending your life in parts. Please understand. You cannot say, I will today give bath to my hands. I'll take bath tomorrow for the left hand. I'll give bath day after tomorrow for the main body. I will give food to the main body after 3 days. But I will give food to the right hand today. No. Like right hand and left hand is part of your main body, knowledge and wealth is part of you. If you have conflict, you are missing complete understanding of the life. So, this conflict, I can say, one more wrong engram with which we are struggling. Money and wealth is you. So, understand? Money and knowledge, both are you. Let me put it in this way. Knowledge is the inner freedom. Money is the outer expression of inner freedom. So, please
thank you, sir.
Understand, if you have the conflict between the knowledge and money, you are coming to conclusion too soon before seeing the life. I have a story for you, that also. One afternoon, a rich man was riding in the back of his limousine. When he noticed a man was eating grass by the roadside, he ordered his driver to stop and he got out to investigate. He asked that man, poor man, why are you eating grass? The poor man said, I don't have money for food, so I am eating grass. The rich man said, okay, come along with me then. The poor man said, sir, I have a wife with 2 children. Rich man said, bring them also. So the poor man got into his car and expressed his gratitude. Sir, you are too kind. Thank you for taking us with you. The rich man replied, no problem, my friend. The grass in my house is about 3 feet tall. I could use your help. Don't take decision in a very premature way. Knowledge is money, money is knowledge. There is no difference. If it is not making money, it is not knowledge, junk. If it is not creating knowledge, it is not money, again it is junk. This question, that being content, please understand, you cannot having the contentment of being till you are enlightened. Any contentment you experience before enlightenment is kind of a shield you create out of your fear or laziness to work. I tell you, that wall is like a enlightenment contentment. Contentment you feel because of enlightenment. The fake wall you put inside, in front, through the plywood, with the plywood, is like a contentment you create out of fear. Please understand this example. The real ceiling and false ceiling. The contentment which you are having now is more like a moving out because of fear. That is responsible. That is the reason, the contentment you are having. Let me make it very clear. You have a right to have contentment when it comes to the possessing. But you have no right to be contented when it comes to creation. Creation is your life. Don't be contented in that. When it comes to possessing, you see, for example, you have no right to stop creating wealth because of contentment. No. You have to go on creating. That is life. But you have the right, you have the freedom to choose how much you want to hold in you, with you. But you have no right to stop creating. By the nature, gahano karmano gadihi. Life is work, flowing. There is a beautifully, Krishna says, karmanye vadigaraste mapaleshu kadachanaha, means you don't have freedom to stop creating. You have freedom to stop possessing. So you have no right to stop creating. If you say, I am contented, and is it a right mental setup? No. It is poverty mental setup. You cannot have contentment as far as the creation is concerned. Till enlightenment. After enlightenment, simply you will be creating. That's all.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Anybody who feels contented? It is not contentment, it is just the fear of working, laziness, not interested in being creative. Come on, that content person, let him come. If he just does a small cheating, he is going to get some $1 billion. You think he will not do? Simply they will all out to do that. Then what happens to your contentment? So it is just the laziness to work, an inability to take risk. That's all. So understand, life is wealth. You have freedom not to possess, but you don't have freedom not to create. Creation is your life. Come on, anybody else? I wanted to make it very clear. I am making a clear strategy even for my organization. Later on, when our organization becomes a big religious organization, I am making it very clear. Teach our followers to create wealth. Give them the right mental setup to create and celebrate wealth. When they create and celebrate wealth, a little bit they share with our organization, we should live with it. Don't promote poverty and suck wealth from them. No. Do not teach poverty to them and suck wealth and you be rich. It's hypocrisy. No. I am telling you very clearly, stop promoting this idea, poor go to heaven. I tell you, blessed are the rich, they live in heaven. They create heaven. Arey, be like a Vishwamitra, just create a heaven. Actually, before I started this organization, one Swami, a very rich Swami, he called me and said that I wanted a successor. You are a young Swami, please be my successor and take over my organization. He was very old. He was very old and he said, anyhow in 1 or 2 years I will die. And huge wealth, he has at least 1,000 crore wealth. And you be my successor. I said no. I very clearly said no. You may leave this money to me, but that will never make me rich or wealthy, and lot of troubles and other things, strings associated with this wealth will bind me. So I will never be able to do what I want to do. So be very clear, only when you create, it is yours, not otherwise. Today I am going to speak on 16th Sutra. He beautifully describes what is yoga and how to achieve that state of yoga step by step. First thing I want all of you to know, yoga is not just physical posture, it has more sanctity to it. It is something beyond body. It helps you to have health and mental well-being, but it is not just replacing your anasin and metasin. We have idea yoga is just for health, physical health. No. Yoga can give, physical health is side effect of yoga. Yoga by itself is more sacred. It has its own sanctity. Patanjali exactly describes what is yoga and leads us to that yoga state, that yogi state by different sutras, by different verses. In these verses, which I am going to speak now, he is talking about vairagya. It's a very beautiful word. Vairagya. I can say the ideas which Patanjali is sharing with us now, with the sutra, vairagya, this is the Vedic solution for this economic crisis. He is giving us Vedic solution. If this one word is understood, this one concept, this vairagya, is understood properly, we will not have the problems of extreme materialism and the problems created by the extreme materialism, and many problems created inside us by these so-called spiritual ideas. This understanding of this word vairagya is necessary for the people who live in the world and people who work towards the spiritual enlightenment. In both levels, we need to understand this word, a very powerful word. You can say most misunderstood idea in the spiritual world is vairagya. And this word is translated into English always as detachment. No, it's not detachment. In Sanskrit, we have three words. Raga means attachment. Araga means detachment. Viraga means beyond attachment and detachment. So the word vairagya has to be translated as beyond attachment and detachment. It's like a transcending. The word vairagya has to be translated as transcending the attachment, not detachment. This one confusion, this one word has created too much of confusion in the spiritual world. Because it is not understood properly, the concept was never practiced. The moment you use the word detachment, people are afraid. They don't want to listen to what you are talking. They don't want to listen to what you are talking. I have seen the very word detachment or renunciation is enough. Either they get up and walk or mentally they are shut. If they don't have that much of confidence, that much of courage to get up and walk, if they have some other work, they sit, but mentally they are closed. Patanjali gives us universal solution. Understanding of this one word can create cognitive shift in us, the way in which we observe things, the way in which we think, the way in which we express our understandings in our life as action. It's a very powerful sutra. He is describing about vairagya in two sutras, 15th Sutra and 16th Sutra. Now let's enter into today's Sutra, the 16th Sutra. If any of you wanted to know about the last sutras, whatever I have spoken, 15 sutras, it's available in YouTube. If you find time, please go through. It will really help you understanding about the earlier sutras. Now, I will enter into 16th sutra, the today's sutra. I will read the sutra, then give you the translation, then we will enter into the commentary. Tatparam Purushakyader Guna Vaidrishinyam. Let me repeat the sutra again. Tatparam Purushakyader Guna Vaidrishinyam. There are many translations. The beauty of Sanskrit language is each word, if you break, will give you different meanings. The Sutrakaras, the Acharyas who write sutras, they play with Sanskrit. If you read as one line, it gives you one meaning. If you break it as words, it gives you different meaning. If you study word by word, it gives you different meaning. All meanings are what they mean. That's the beauty of Sanskrit. All meanings are what they mean. They have kept all the secret keys, the spiritual keys in the sutras. So whoever reads, whoever listens, whoever internalizes, they understand as according to their maturity. An initial level seeker, if he opens up this book, he will have inspiration to work on this sutra. A seeker who was working on these ideas for a few years, if he opens and rereads, he will have inspiration to go to the next level. A seeker who is almost done with everything, who is in the verge of enlightenment, if he reads, he will have that last push, that final jump. You can understand the sutra in many ways. I will try to give the translations, 2-3 translations, and try to share what I need to share about the sutra from my own understanding and from my own experience. The translation of the sutra, it's from Swami Vivekananda, and I have 12 sutras, 12 translations. Maybe I'll read 2 sample so that you can understand the same sutra, how it can be viewed by different acharyas in different ways. Vivekananda's translation. Tatparam Purushagyade Gunavaidrishinya. This is the sutra. Vivekananda translates as, that is extreme non-attachment which gives up even the thirst for the gunas. The guna word as no English word. It's not, you can't translate the word guna as character. Guna means the moods which you carry. Sometime, suddenly you will see, for no reason, you are in low mood. Sometime, for no reason, you are in a restless mood, irritated, agitated. Sometime, for no reason, you are in that restful awareness mood. These are the 3 major gunas we live with. That dullness or depression, we call in Sanskrit tamas, inertness, agitated, irritated, restless, we call that as rajas, rajoguna. Restful awareness, very peaceful and completely aware of what is happening inside and outside. This we call it as sattva guna. Swami Vivekananda says, when he translates these sutras, That is extreme non-attachment, which gives up even the thirst for gunas, even the thirst for these moods, and which comes from the knowledge of the real nature of Purusha. He says even the thirst for three gunas should be renounced, which can happen only when you understand the Supreme Self. This is the Vivekananda's translation. Here I will read Jnaneshwara's translation, Sant Jnaneshwara. Indifference to the subtlest elements, constituent principles, or qualities themselves, achieved through a knowledge of nature of pure consciousness, is called supreme non-attachment. You can see how two different masters view this sutra from different level. Now I will try to give my translation, how I am translating, and try to add whatever I want to add. Many Sanskrit words, the moment you try to translate with one English word, you will reduce the quality of that depth of that word. So I am using 4 or 5 words to translate every single word.
Yes, Nithyananda, all of you. So this was the revelation by Swamiji, how the Sanskrit, Swamiji talked about Sanskrit, using Sanskrit to translate. Understand the whole scripture is in Sanskrit. So Swamiji is mapping this in English. And of course, this whole day itself, the sessions was on the wealth, creating wealth. Swamiji says, go on creating wealth, left and right. If you don't need, just share it with others, but don't have the mindset of whatever I have is enough. No, that mindset is totally incorrect, totally wrong. Go on left and right creating wealth. If you have more, just share. So, of course, throughout the day, Swamiji revealed so much powerful cognitions about the wealth, creating wealth, how wealth is a part of you, intrinsic part of you. And we had the techniques, kriyas, internalization exercise to remove all the wrong cognitions that you have about wealth. There's, when you live in the society, so much of wrong cognitions. It is your cognition that let you attract the wealth or not attract the wealth towards you. So with this, we have come to the conclusion of today's day of the Paramashivoham. And of course, tomorrow we'll be back with another exciting days. With the deity itself will be on the Lingodbha Murti, and the day will be starting with the Nithyananda Yoga, which is the 108 asana sequence, Prathama Vinyasa Krama. So don't miss this opportunity to start the day with the Prathama Vinyasa Krama. So with this, we'll be concluding the day with the Purna Mantra. So let's bring our hands in Namaskar Mudra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Bhagavan Shri Nithyananda Paramashivoham Level. Om Nithyanandam. Thank you. Nithyanandam.